So, dear colleagues, dear friends from around the world, hello and welcome. And it's my great pleasure to welcome Christian Haase from Quintessenz, sitting in his. You're sitting in your office in Berlin, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so just to show you who is our guest for this tonight's show. So after talking to a lot of authors from the International Journal of Aesthetic Dentistry, I asked Christian to get an insight on who's behind all this, what we are doing, what we are showing, what is published. So Christian Haase, it's a great pleasure to have you here. And
thank you very much. The pleasure's all mine.
To talk to you a little bit about Quintessenz, about the journal, and if there are any questions from the audience, we will be happy to answer the questions as well. So, Christian,
yes,
let's jump into it. Tell us a little bit more about Quintessenz.
Well, Quintessenz is, most of the viewers today know us because they have subscribed to the group and they are subscribers of our journal. So we are a dental publisher and we are exclusive in dentistry. We do some medical publishing, but mainly in dentistry. We've been doing this for 70 years or 71 years almost now. And it's a family company. We are in the third generation with my person. And we, again, publish dental books, journals, and we have educational events. Once the corona pandemic is over, we hope to have them again. But right now, we're restricted to books and journals and formats like this.
So what was your experience during these difficult times with these new platforms, with interviews, with webinars?
Well, the experience is quite a unique one because when this all happened in March or in February and March, you saw that everybody and their grandmother started doing webinars, and you had webinars every 24/7. You could learn from each other, and you see that the people thrive to share their knowledge, their wisdom, and to learn from each other, to interact. So we see that people really rely on meeting with colleagues and exchanging ideas and thoughts, and a lot of people are really missing the events. And just like you and me, we've been more or less bound to the office, and we usually are around the world every weekend for another dental meeting, another educational event, another seminar, another exhibit. And this year was basically null like this, so we had to rely on this. So people are starting to adapt to these formats, and we see in the usage of our webinars as well as others that people are more and more eager to do that. But it's not replacing the big stages, the discussions and so on. So it's a nice thing to have while we don't have the other things, but I don't think it's going to exchange once we have a normal situation again. It will be complementary, I think.
But what I experienced was there was too much free content available on the internet. So I think a lot of people got the impression now everything is online. So internet is everything is for free. So what are your experiences? Do you think that you can create a small business with online education, or do you think the dental community is not ready yet for this?
I think that community in general, whether it's dental or it's medical or layperson, are not there yet to spend money on content on the internet. The internet is still the wild, wild west, or the wild World Wide Web for that matter. And a lot of people expect the content to be free. And it's tough to change from free content to paid content. When we started doing our webinars, which are also for free, because we saw very fast that we have a very small audience if we do charge them, but we have a very large international audience if it's for free. So we use this platform with our authors and speakers just to stay connected and to spread ideas. And we asked the participants if they would be willing to pay for a format like this, whether it's 5, 10 or more euros to do that, and only a small number of people would have answered that, yeah, of course I would pay for it. The majority would say, then if I have to pay for it, I won't attend. So it's still in the heads of the people that the internet is free. Do we need to change that? I'm sure, yes. And I think you can have good content online behind a paywall, but it's not for the masses, I think, yet. If we get back to the educational events like we used to, and people are used to doing that, I think it's complementary. So you'll see a lot of hybrid events where you would have on-site due to hygiene regulations, which are still now in effect. So you only have a certain amount of people that can come, and you would have the same program online. So if you don't want to travel, if you're not from a city like that, if you are not allowed to travel, you'll be able to join for the same amount of money. And I think that will come more and more.
So because in the industry you see quite big change in these days. So the industry is adapting digital technologies and is trying to save money, because there's obvious number one reason of going digital is to be more efficient. You don't have to travel from Frankfurt to Sydney to go to a conference, which might be a nice thing to do as a vacation. But if you're talking about business, I think the combination of real events. So, for example, if you plan an event in Sydney, you might focus on the local dentists, but simultaneously broadcast the whole thing to a larger audience. And what do you think about this? Let's say what you mentioned this, like hybrid events for the future.
Well, that's the idea behind it. But to be very honest with you, the whole traveling to a different country, being in a different city, spending the weekends with people you know from other events or from your colleagues, it's very similar to a school trip. So, it's the whole event of traveling there, to meeting the people, to hanging out in the hotel lobby afterwards, going out for dinners and meeting with each other, exchanging. I think it's a big part of the educational events. And you will always have people that could easily go online and watch a meeting from Sydney or anywhere else, but they would much rather travel to Sydney. I understand that it's a financial idea. So the people who are on a budget will most likely prefer not to spend the money to travel, but it's not the same. So I think most of the people would rather try to save money to go to Sydney than to spend less money and be in front of the computer and watch it online. There's probably somewhere in between is a reality.
Okay. Yeah. No. We will see what happens. So we will see.
One example. I'm sorry to disrupt you. For example, if you are flying to a different country, to a different city for the weekend for a educational event, so you go there, you have the hotel, you meet with people. But if you have the same event, the same times online, you are at home. So what do you do on the weekends at home? You spend time with your family. So you have the family at home. So you cannot really, close off and, I'm sitting in front of the computer watching this whole event. So you're distracted, or you be like, nah, I'm home already. I'm not gonna join there. I'm gonna do something different. So this is something that I see is a big problem for a lot of people, that it's just sitting for hours and hours in front of the computer screen to educate yourself. It's not a feasible thing to do yet. Especially if you're not somewhere else, if you're at home and you have the distractions.
Okay, so I don't completely agree on that with you, but I'm sure that the social events, the physical events, are important for us, because human beings are social animals. So we want to meet, we want to chat, we want to interact, we want to drink a beer with each other and have fun. But on the other hand, I think there's a bright future for digital education, and the digital education doesn't necessarily have to be on the weekend. So if you don't have to travel for hours, you can say, okay, let's do education will no longer be on the weekend. I think education will be during the week, and so you have the weekend off for your family. And education on a digital base 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours.
It has no time and space restrictions. I understand that. Yes.
Yeah. So,
And
but we have to find the best way, I think.
I tend to agree with you, but I don't think it's there yet. That's just our, observation that the people are not ready yet. Are we going to end up there with online education and, maybe being virtually at a different place? Yes, of course, but not quite yet. And I don't think this is going to happen because of Notsituation, because we have to, because we can't. I think the moment you can't do something, you want to do it even more. So the moment we are allowed to travel again, people are going to fly all over the world and to go to meetings. Once this is settled down a little bit and you have the opportunity to have remote access to high-class educational events, people will use it, but not right now.
Okay. So
again, this is like looking into a glass bowl.
Yeah. This is an endless discussion. At this point, we have to see what the future will bring us. So let's get back into for me, the most important topic. Let's talk about the journal. So yes. Maybe you can lose 2-3 words about what the journal is all about, or let's say, when did it start? Why did it start? For people outside who don't know what happened in the last 15 years.
You said it, it's 15 years, I think, right? That's correct.
Yes. Yeah.
So the journal started together with the European Academy of Aesthetic Dentistry. We are, as a publisher and as a partner, very close to the Academy. And there was a need for a highly clinical, very well prepared and researched journal. So, the way we work is that we start the journals, we start the ideas, we have the ideas, and we try to work with educational associations or people in order to jumpstart it. But we usually don't come in at a later point where we say, there's the idea, we're going to do the journal for you. So we try to be the impulse for it as well. So 15 years ago, it was my father who had the idea. I'm not entirely sure if it was together with you or with some other people, and then you came on board as the editor, as the idea that we had in mind, because I wasn't present at that time. I am with Quintessenz for quite some time, but this was slightly before I was super involved in it.
I can tell you the story if you want.
So you know the story much better than me, probably.
No, let's make it short. It was the idea of the European Academy of Aesthetic Dentistry, and some people, especially Uli Grunder, approached me because they were looking for someone taking over this position of editor-in-chief. And then it ended up that I was sitting on the same table with your father and your mother, and we had a very nice evening. My wife was also there, because at the end, your father asked my wife if I would be ready to do this job. So this was very classical style, and I agreed, and we had some discussion, and then this adventure started. So this was very exciting for me, something completely new, but I really love the job, and I'm trying to do my best. But maybe you can give us a little bit more insight. So in 2014, we changed the name from European to International Journal of Aesthetic Dentistry, and maybe you know from that point a little bit more.
Yes.
What is the international part of the journal?
I was very much involved in changing the name from the European to the international part, because obviously, there's a world outside of Europe, a big world, in Asia, in the Americas, and so on and so forth. And initially, we started with an American edition of the journal, because from our experience, we know from other publications that a lot of times, if it's very American or European, it will not be super accepted in vice versa areas. So a lot of times, if you are in Americas, you would say, why do I need a journal from the Europeans? We have great people in the Americas, and the other way around. So in order to broaden the horizon and broaden the readership of the journal, we said, it's either the idea of having a sister journal in the US, which didn't really quite work out. So we decided to make the European and international one, and to have a broader audience. The readership and the authors were always international. We had always authors from Asia, from America, from Europe, from probably even Africa, I'm not entirely sure, but from all over the world. So it was only fitting to change it to the international format. And this was also connected to having multiple international aesthetic associations or societies adopting the journal as their own, as their official journal.
So how many languages do we have now? I'm not at the current situation.
Well, this to be very honest with you, fluctuated a little bit. So we had some more, and then we got some less, because some of the languages were later than stopped, because we always felt that we need to have local editions, especially if you have countries where the older population is not that firm in English. You would have that in France and Spain and in Italy, where the English is not that widespread. So we started some local editions, but you later on saw in some of the countries where you see, okay, I don't need to have a local edition because I want to read the original English one. So the English one grew while we stopped some of the smaller ones. We are still active in Italy, where we have a Japanese version which comes as a yearbook. So it's a collection of the entire year in one publication. We have the same situation in Russia, for example. We are working and starting on the Chinese version of it. We had a Greek version which initially fell short to the international version, and so on and so forth. So it's been around the block a little bit. Let's put it this way.
So what about the Brazilian version?
Well, the journal business in Brazil has completely changed. Maybe because the audience in Brazil is more likely to consume online and international content. So it was not that accepted to have a Portuguese version, because the majority of the people preferred the English version. And so that's why we shifted back to the English version, which is it's a toss-up between having a local version and then having these people who would read the local version be additional readers to the international one. So it's just growing the readership of the journal.
Okay, I see. So how many subscribers do we have? Or is this secret? Are these secret numbers?
I cannot count so many. No, obviously it's never enough. We would love the world. Everybody would love to read it. You would be happy if we would have more readers. We are content with the readership. We are lucky that we have associations who adopted the journal, who all their members get the journal as a part of their membership. So we have a fairly good readership, and we're happy about it. But we're working tirelessly every day, or to extend that reach.
So that's why
activities like you are doing with the Instagram account, which is fantastic. The group on Facebook is fantastic. We have a lot of people who are very active there. So we're trying to connect both worlds a little bit.
I see especially the Instagram version it's growing. So we just started. So now I think we have 3,500 followers there, but I see a huge interaction for the relatively low number of people. And I see that a lot of people are asking for PDFs. So we are giving away free PDFs of all the articles.
Don't do too much of that.
Huh?
Not too many.
No. I always also tell people that it is for private use. And if somebody asks then 5 or 10 PDFs, then I will stop them and tell them, look, please get a subscription, because I want to continue my job as editor-in-chief, and we want to keep up the great work of all the team that is behind. It's not only you and me, it's the whole team behind that. Mrs. Klever, Herr Kirchner, I worked many years with Juliane Richter, all the production team, Avril de Plessis, who's working in London, doing a great job, but for the language editing, so creating the the language style of the journal that
She
I
moved
like.
to Berlin, by the way. She's now a Berliner.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Even better. No, because I told her many times I really like her writing style. So she gets a lot of text from people, and also myself. I'm not a native English. I'm a Swiss. I'm an Italian born, half German Swiss dentist. And so English also for me is a foreign language, and I'm really happy how she transforms the text of all the authors from different countries into something that is really consistent and easy to read. So really, I already told the whole team that they are doing a great job, and this has to be financed, and that's why I'm asking also today all our viewers to, now it's Christmas, and it's time to get a subscription of the International Journal of Aesthetic Dentistry. And you told me that we could also start promoting that readers get new readers. Maybe maybe we should take also the time to do a little bit of advertisement. That's not prohibited.
No,
also,
of course not.
Interview, we are talking about the journal. So Christian, what could this such a thing be if readers get new readers? What is the concept behind that?
We offer our readers, if they would get additional subscribers or gift a subscription, these new subscribers will have a reduced price for the first year, and also the person who is giving that subscription or telling them about it will also get a reduced price for their subscription. So everybody's saving, everybody's happy, and we're getting new subscribers. So that's a nice thing to do, and that applies for not only the International Journal of Aesthetic Dentistry, but also for other journals that we do.
So we might publish this on the Facebook page, on the Instagram account, and on the website to motivate people to get this offer. And again,
I will share the link later on and post it in the group.
Super. That's a great idea. So yes. Coming back to not advertisement. So we had this discussion, and I wrote an editorial, I think already a few years ago, about the future of print media. What is your opinion about this? So we had long discussions. Should we go with our journals or with all journals online only? Should we keep our printed versions? So my experience, a lot of people I know, they like to receive the journal, to smell the paper, and to watch the high quality print. So what are your experiences also regarding books? How are people reacting towards digital books, journals, or physical books and journals?
Your question is, how do you see the future of print media? It's bright. It's very bright, because you see in the background, I have some Star Wars memorabilia, and I'm a big sci-fi fan. And if you look at Star Trek and you see Captain Kirk or Jean-Luc Picard or whoever is the captain in their cabin on the Enterprise, they have a bookshelf and they have books. So books will be around for a long, long, long time. And we also see this, we get a lot of questions, can we get the books as ebooks, or are they available on the iBook store and so on? And the answer is yes, all of our books are available as ebooks as well, or the majority of it, at least all the new titles. But the business behind it, or the amount of people who buy and read and consume ebooks, is very, very small. So this tells us that the demand for something like this is not where we might have thought it would be when the internet started, when iPads came along, or tablet computers. We were very fast. The moment iBooks was online, we had our titles on there. But people they want to have it, as you said, they want to have it in their hands. They want to, the first thing I do when I get a book, I open it up and I smell it. It's a little strange, but I just love it. And every book and every published article has a different smell to it because of the glue, because of the paper, because of where it came from. And it's just a nice thing to have in your hands. Dentists work with their hands. So I believe that even with doctors or other professions, it's like a nice watch or a nice car. It's the value is there if you have something to touch. If you look, you know what the Brockhaus was, right? Brockhaus is a huge encyclopedia. You were able to get it in 13 editions, I think, leather bound with gold lettering. And this was a status symbol. People had it in their home. Nobody ever looked at it. Nobody ever used it because there's Wikipedia and other things, but everybody wanted to have it. And then this company started changing from these printed high quality products to a leather bound stainless steel USB stick where the entire content was on there. Where's the company now? It's gone because people wanted these books. And there's always a time and place for everything. And I think having the opportunity to be online, have fast access, you can search, you can highlight, you can copy paste if you want to use this for your research. Yes, but from our experience, everybody who owns or reads ebooks also owns the traditionally printed copy because they want to have it just like you in the background in the shelves of their office, and they want to read it, they want to work in it, they want to mark in it. So we don't see a decline in printing. We're printing more than ever. I know that this might not be super good for the rainforest, but it's people still would like to have it in their hands. And the same with journals. Journals will fade faster than books because you have more up-to-date, more, you need the faster information. You need research published faster. We can't, we have backlogs for articles. If I get an article accepted now, it could be very well that only be published in a year or two because there's so much backlog already. This is a problem with high impact journals. With ours, not so much, but you'll be able to do that faster when you do online, but it's going to be a while.
So if just this small discussion about online journals. So what I see, open source is
open access. Yes,
open access is a hot topic, and there are a lot of let's say big players, even the number one. Or there are two big companies even based in Switzerland, but with Chinese and Indian background. So they're doing a lot of business, publishing articles much faster because universities, they need fast publications to get their points, etc., etc. So what is the strategy? What is the strategy of Quintessenz in regards of this open access history or story of journals?
It's not only that they need to be published fast or in high impact journals. It's a matter of if it's publicly funded work. So if there's grant monies that universities get in order to do research, is it either by bylaws or by law have to be accessible for everybody. So everybody needs to benefit from publicly funded or in government funded grants research. That's why you need to do open access so it's available for everybody. Obviously, if it's free for everybody, it's not a business. So you need to change the business model. So open access works with submission fees. So the author who submits an article, and once it's accepted, you pay a submission fee. Usually this is borne by the university. So there's a budget from the universities who have that for these kind of publications. So for the author and for the publications, it's good because you have a much, much bigger audience to read because it's free, and therefore you need to pay for it in order to be published. So you don't pay for being published, you're paying for being processed. So because if you pay to be published, this could mention, be like, okay, this might be biased. If somebody just comes along and pays for it, it's going to get published. So that's not the case because there's still the review process. There's still a rigorous peer review and a blinded review process. And that's why it's an article processing fee once it's submitted or accepted. So you cannot just pay your way through publications. But once it's selected, once it's approved, once it's been back and forth, you pay for the publications. In our case, most of our journals are very clinical journals. So similar to cookbooks. So you would have a lot of how-to, step-by-step situations that we're talking about. We're talking about highly aesthetic work, and you will look over the shoulder of the technicians and the skilled surgeons. If you would ask Mark Hürzeler from Munich, for example, I would like to get your case published, and you need to pay for it. Of course, he's not going to do it, because where is his benefit? So you would only see open access if it's a very scientific journal, and if it's a highly impacted journal. And we've actually changed one of our journals already into an open access journal, which is the Oral Health and Preventive Dentistry. And I think we will have 2 more journals following that suit pretty soon that are very scientific. You don't have a lot of clinical pictures in there. It's a lot of research.
Okay, I see. So,
but that's not going to happen for the iJet, because it's not the audience for that.
No. I don't see that as well. That because the scope is completely different. Because and I get questions especially from universities. What about the impact factor of the International Journal of Aesthetic Dentistry? And I tell them, look, we have one of the highest clinical impact factors. Not the scientific one, but the clinical impact factors, and we both have to be proud that if you look at the names of the articles that we get, and how many people really want to submit an article to the International Journal of Aesthetic Dentistry, this is really cool. And in the discussion with all the authors, I always was mentioning that I really appreciate that these people are sharing their knowledge, and we are giving them the platform to really print also all their nice images. I think there are not many journals who really tell the dentist, tell the authors, oh, you can send us as many pictures as you want, because they expect most of the yeah, we are limiting it down, I know, and we are discussing it, but on first sight I want to get an overview. If we have more pictures, we have also the possibility to get a much nicer selection. The same thing I'm doing with the Instagram post. I'm even reducing the number and getting, let's say, the 10 most important pictures out of an article to promote or to get the attention of potential readers. So I think this is a good way, and we will continue that way with your support.
No, the journal lives and breathes its quality, and it would be nothing without the authors. And we're very proud, as you mentioned, we're very proud of having great clinicians all over the world submitting articles to the journal and sharing their knowledge. So it's without them and without this content, we would not be where we are. In any case, with all of our products, the same goes for books and other journals.
Yeah. So
it's a little easier if you have an impact factor, because people need to publish an impact factor journal, so you get more articles, but you have the rejection rate with high impact factor journals, not only with Quintessenz but in general, is very high. So it can be frustrating at times.
Yeah, but I think we get some articles that might not be published in high impact factor journals, because the authors are not allowed to really showcase what they are doing. So I think the focus and also the message to all potential authors out there is, if you have great content to share, you can submit it to the journal, but it's not only about nice documentation, nice pictures.
No, of course not.
We also want some information from behind, a discussion. So we have also some standards in quality of the writing of the articles.
Of course, and the science behind it also needs to be up to date. That's obvious. I mean, you can't just do something without having the proper backgrounds with it.
Okay, so there was some question about what about an International Journal of Research in Aesthetic Dentistry?
This would be it's going to be complicated because it's I have the same discussion, and we talked about this, Alessandro, about digital dentistry. So, we have obviously a journal on computerized dentistry, but down the road, digital dentistry will just be dentistry because everything is already very digital. So if we look at a possible international research journal in aesthetic dentistry, this would mean that all the other research is ugly teeth. So you will have in the other research-based journals, there's a lot of topics that are revolving around aesthetic outcomes and aesthetic. So it's there, but I don't think there's room for a journal just focus on that. I think that would be wrong too.
No, my answer would also be the research is the basic research that you need to which are the base on what you're doing. The research
in order to achieve an aesthetic outcome, the science needs to be okay.
Additive dentistry, and then an author has to bring all this together. It's like a word that I don't really like, comprehensive dentistry or interdisciplinary dentistry. But I think as an author of the International Journal of Aesthetic Dentistry, you need a certain background, a certain knowledge, a certain level of education. So you should know about the research, about the basics, and then go to the next level and make the interpretation on your clinical work and showcase the work with the best knowledge. And if the base is there, then you can also do the next step. So that what we discussed with the other authors also. What would you say, young dentists? What should they do? What goals should they have? So we try to motivate young people to educate themselves more to get at that point.
Well, you see, this is one of the problems that a lot of the social media publications have. You see a lot of beautiful after pictures, before and after pictures, and like we got to hear in school, show me your work. How did you do it? And that's where the research and the science behind it comes into play. Everybody can show a nice result but is the research behind sound? Does the material work? Is the occlusion there? Is the function there? Is the biocompatibility there? And so on and so forth. So behind every beautiful result, there's a lot of research and a lot of work that goes into that, and that's a big part of it. And that's why and that's why I'm so happy that you started the reviewed Instagram account for the journal, because I think this is fantastic, because you would have a lot of the younger people who are not ready to publish in a journal yet, or don't have the work yet, but they still want to share their experience. And this could be a very great stepping stone in order to do that, but with still having people to look over it, like a board or some sort of review. So there is merit to it, and there's a brand to it, and there's a quality behind it, even if it's open for everybody. So it's a new way, a new kind of open access a little bit.
Yeah, no, but again, it's important for all parties involved. We want to keep the quality at a high level. We will not go down with the quality just because we are going to social media. So we are not part of Facebook University or Instagram University. And I think we can be successful with a high quality, what we are doing in the print, also on social media, but keeping or trying to keep the level there.
I think you mentioned Instagram and Facebook University, which is a term that a lot of people use because of that, very easy access, beautiful before and after pictures. But there is a lot of great talent out there, and younger people who do great and fantastic work. And if we can manage to help them to showcase that a little bit better, and then eventually have them in our journals or as book authors or on our stages, that's fantastic. I think it's a very great stepping stone into our world.
Cool. So to sum up, or a last question before we have to close our very interesting discussion, I could talk for hours, but we have to take a little bit the time into consideration. So after all these discussions of the last 30 minutes, so what is the future, or what are ideas that you can share with us now what Quintessenz will look in 5 or 10 years?
Well, it might be surprising to you and might be a little bit boring, but I don't think we're going to change that much, to be very honest with you. I think our core will still be the high qualified, scientific, research-based clinical work that is published in books, journals, or other formats. So, we don't sell paper. We sell the knowledge and the content. So the paper may be gone in a couple of years, whether it's in journals or books, but we still need to be a hub for the talent, for the researchers, for the clinical dentists, in order to be, spread into the world. And this might be social media, this might be a website, this might be webinars and courses. But I think for the next couple of years, we're still going to be focusing on the books and our educational events. Just the format is going to change a little bit. I hope that one day we'll be able to have our website, so Quintessenz would be not divided into journals, into topics, but would be as a hub, as a whole, to be able to publish any kind of content, whether it's video, whether it's printed, whether it's not printed, whether it's text and cases or webinars, and we will be having a board to cover all of that, and just have a different kind of output format, whether again, it could be a webinar, it could be a printed article, it could be a PDF, could be a website, could be something like this,
Yeah, I think the future is a combination of different
Absolutely.
things. So I think it's important that we keep our eyes open, that we are ready to adapt new technologies and new things. But I agree completely with you that high quality will stay there, and it's also important for the younger generation to become better and reach another level in their dental education and in the dental work. So I think this is the way. So going back to the Mandalorian,
there you go. Exactly, that's the way.
This is the way. But this is Boba Fett in the back. You told me this is Boba Fett.
I'm more of the old school guy, but the Mandalorian is available only in April, so I'm waiting.
No, Disney Plus? You don't have Disney Plus in Germany?
The helmet.
The helmet. The Mandalorian helmet. Okay, so keep me posted when this will be available.
Yeah.
So just to summarize and to end up, I thank you, Christian, very much for taking the time, for giving us some precious input on what Quintessenz is all about and what Quintessenz will be in the future. And everybody who watched us or who will watch us later on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to join our group. I think we now have reached 10,000 followers in the Facebook group. We have 3,500 followers on Instagram, and we are working hard to grow this community further, to spread the word of the journal, and hopefully, and again, remember, Christmas time is time to get the subscription of the International Journal of Aesthetic Dentistry. I think that's a good idea, Christian.
We can even put a little bow on it.
Sounds good. And I'm looking forward that you share this special offers, or this reader gets reader campaign, so that we can start promoting the journal even more and get the number of subscribers it deserves.
Yes, absolutely.
I think this was a good comment for the end.
Yes.
Do you agree?
I completely agree.
I think so. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful Christmas time, and let's keep in touch. Thank you very much.
The same to you. Please stay safe, and I hope to see you in real life soon.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Everybody, for that matter. Bye-bye.